Hey there, brother YouTubers. Rick from Gaming here, and in case it isn't obvious to you, we are going to be looking at Warhammer 40k today. Now, with the release of Space Hulk and Space Hulk Deathwing this year, I thought it'd be nice to take a look at the first two Space Hulk games they released back in the 90s, Space Hulk and its successor, Space Hulk Vengeance of the Blood Angels. So let's get started by taking a closer look at the first one.
Both published by EA, Space Hulk was their first attempt at making a video game version of the successful board game which had you commanding squads of Terminator Space Marines in a variety of missions on board a Space Hulk, which are essentially massive Frankenstein spaceships made from dozens of different ships that collided and fused together in the warp and inhabited by Tyranid gene stealers. Space Hulk, released in 1993, tried to translate the board game as a tactical FPS, but still adhering to some basic mechanics of the board game, such as corridors wide enough for only one Marine to move through, grid-based four-direction movement, and getting wrecked by gene stealers at close range. Although you can switch and directly control each Terminator in your squad, the interface was sort of clunky given the low resolution of games at the time, and attempting to have the view of 5 Terminators simultaneously on screen made it a little disorientating. The game featured a tactical planning mode that allowed you to plot the moves of the Terminators in your squad, since you could only control one Terminator at a time, and the missions were mostly based on scenarios that were in the board game.
Warriors of the Emperor, you have command of 2 squads. You will be in the very midst of the enemy. You must recover at least one object from the Hulk. Exit via the teleport area here. The enemy will come from these zones. Let the slaughter commence.
Following up just 2 years later with Space Hulk Vengeance of the Blood Angels in 1995, this was again a further attempt at making the game into more of an FPS shooter. It had more fluid player movement this time, with a full 360-degree freedom of movement, but still adhering to the one-person wide corridor mechanic, except in some of the rooms. Graphics were vastly improved, with the hand-to-hand view of Tyranids being particularly well done. The same method for controlling and switching between Marines is still present, and like the earlier Space Hulk, it's a pretty challenging game, with the placement of Marines at strategic points to create bottlenecks or safe corridors critical to mission success. But I still died pretty quickly on the first mission anyways. The game also featured 10-player multiplayer co-op, which is pretty impressive for the time considering Space Hulk Deathwing, a game 20 years younger, only has 4-player multiplayer. Both of these games, in my opinion, capture the gameplay and feel of the original board game. The newer Space Hulk Deathwing, although a pretty fun FPS and graphically gorgeous game, doesn't really recreate the original feel of the board game, which was fighting in cramped conditions, wanting to keep gene stealers at arm's length, and pretty much GG when it got to hand.
Okay, let's take a look at the boxes now. So let's start off with the first one. It's nice cover art. It's taken from the second edition of the board game. On the back, we've got screenshots of the game and features and a quick description as normal. And a yellow IBM format label. Inside, normal 4 floppy disks. Instruction manual. Not a lot of hand-drawn art here, it's mainly just screenshots from the game. And we have a missions guide, which does have some background information on the 40k universe. A lot of these missions, like I said, were taken directly from the board game version. Have a flyer for Games Workshop products. See the original Space Hulk board game. Other stuff, Space Marine, Warhammer, regular Warhammer 40k, I think
It's like second edition, or back when it was known as like Rogue Trader. Always nice seeing their history. Registration card. And card for their hint line. On to the second one. Now, this is the European release of the game. The North American version I actually had, but it was a really flimsy and ugly box. I mean, it wasn't nearly as nice as the European box, because the American box had like these cutouts on the front that just showed you like the actual CDs in the game. But the good thing about the North American version was it included a copy of the game for you and a multiplayer copy of the game to give to your friend, so you guys could play online but only need one copy of the game. So let's take a look at the cover. Some really nice CGI art made specifically for the game. The back, that's a really ugly font. I don't know why they chose that. They could have gone with a much prettier or gothic looking font to fit in with the setting, but whatever. Some screenshots of the game. Bilingual description in English and French. Let's open it up. English manual. So a little bit of background information on 40K. And not a lot of, not a very thick manual. Not a lot of hand-drawn art. So moving away from like putting that stuff in and just going straight for like screenshots and straightforward instructions. EA catalog, okay. This was about the time that 3D graphics started taking off. Installation and troubleshooting guide, very basic. And only a single CD in the European release, so they didn't include the second copy for multiplayer. And there you have it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review, so please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you again.